and welcome back to the Best Friends Club Podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Charlotte,
And my name is Fizz.
and we're back again for another episode, ready to discuss some innuendo bingoing.
Innuendo Bingoing, that's right. We're actually back with another two-parter because we missed out on the first one,
So,
kind
yeah,
of.
so why not combine them both?
Yeah, it's better this way, for sure. Yeah, so we're gonna do, these are quite long videos. They're each almost like 10 minutes long,
Longer than
which
an
I guess
amazing
makes sense.
film video.
True, and in this part of in this sort of era of film videos, it's definitely longer, but it makes sense because these are not actually videos, they're segments on a Radio 1 show
Yeah,
by, I'm struggling to remember his name,
Scott Mills.
but a very popular radio host, Scott Mills.
Scott Mills. There we
Yeah.
go. God, I am rusty today. I feel like because there's not a lot to discuss, I'm like, I don't really know where to start.
I
Um,
also think it's because you want to keep all of this in. Like, I think it's because, so we're recording earlier in the day. We usually have a lot more time to sort of get in the zone, and this is not the usual
yeah,
time. I
we're
think that's what
recording at
it
1:30
is.
on a Sunday afternoon, and we normally
Yeah,
record in the middle of the week at like 5 o'clock. But hey, it's
it's
five
5 o'clock.
o'clock somewhere.
Yeah,
Well, it's nearly 5 o'clock for you, I suppose, isn't it?
it is. It's 5:30 for me,
Oh,
so it
there we
is five
go.
o'clock
It's
somewhere.
5 o'clock somewhere. There we go. Anyway, Dan and Phil are officially, I'd say now, in their Radio 1 era. They are working very closely with Radio 1. Their their radio show has just been announced, which I think we discussed in the last episode. I did actually go back and I found a tweet of mine of when it was announced that they were getting their own radio show. Um, and this is from the 9th of November 2012. So it is after the videos that we're talking about today have been uploaded. But we're just
Mm-hmm.
going to call this a bumper Radio 1 episode. So I tweeted on the 9th of November 2012, just ran around the house screaming and crying because Dan Is Not on Fire and Amazing Phil are going to have their own radio show on BBC Radio 1.
Cute. I love that. That's a very accurate reaction to something like that because it's so huge.
Honestly,
That people from the internet, yeah.
I remember I was home alone. I think it was a Friday that I found out, and I'd like seen a news article. I was sat downstairs in the living room, but I was so like overwhelmed with emotion. I was like, I need to go up to my bedroom and like have the privacy of my bedroom, even though I was home alone. But like I needed the security of my bedroom to like sit and absorb this knowledge. And like I remember reading like the news article and be like, oh my god, what does this mean? They're gonna have their own radio show.
Because it was so unprecedented. Like, what is that? I remember when I heard about it because I had also started watching them at this point, like in November.
Welcome, Fizz.
And I was like, what is this? Thank you, thank you. I'm not there. Innuendo Bingo 2 was the last video uploaded before I started watching them, so we're getting there. Um, but when the radio show was announced, I was like, does that mean less videos? What is this? I went sort of like in the doom side of things. I was like, oh my god, when is this gonna happen? Will I be able to listen? Because again, I'm international, so I was just like, how do I be included in this? But it was very accessible sort of show, which we'll get into. But it was just very exciting times
It
for
was very exciting.
internet people to suddenly be on the radio.
So I
Yeah.
asked on our Tumblr a few weeks ago for anyone who was around in the fandom in like 2012 if they remember anything, if they have any memories of things that were going on at the time. And this lovely person called Viewer Spooky Happenings on Tumblr, shout out to you. I don't know if you listened to the podcast or if you just saw the post and replied to it. But they replied saying that they remember it being like the most amazing thing to have happened to like internet culture and like that crossover to the mainstream from what was still like weird kids on the internet was really huge in people being accepted, that being interested in YouTube was like a normal thing and wasn't like a, oh, that's a bit weird.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so true. Also amazing URL. If you know, you know, weird spooking happenings. Um, that's such a niche. Like it's not that niche, but if you know, you know, I guess. Um, okay. But this person also specifies like during innuendo bingo, like they remember the reaction to it and talking about like so basically innuendo bingo from the name it's like talking about like really rude jokes and stuff I guess. And so the reaction to that with Phil was that it was surprising that he would laugh at all these jokes because he his branding was like innocent, doesn't swear, doesn't know like sexual jokes and all of that. So I saw in the comments as well like the people were so surprised that he was actually understanding these jokes, which is really funny because
Yeah.
he's like 25.
Yeah, that was what most of the
Um,
comments were on like
yeah,
both of these videos, which is so weird because I think we've talked about this before, but like pre 2009, Phil was very like I can't remember what word like to kind of describe it. Like I don't know, like he wasn't as this
um,
innocent, wholesome like image. Like if you watch some of his older videos, like pre 2009, like he was definitely like I want to say risque, but like I don't mean like risque that like he was parading himself around, but like he definitely then sort of like started to sanitize seems so like clinical, but like he definitely sort of like cleaned up his brand a little bit, I think, from 2009
a little bit, yeah.
onwards. But like if you look back at him, like Phil was
Mm,
wild, Phil was crazy, and then you hear these stories about him that he's told recently since coming out about him in uni, like he was crazy going around at uni, meeting up with guys and stuff like that. But he just has this image of being this little
yeah,
wholesome bean, a small bean.
a small bean, a tall bean. Um, Great branding on his part. Like the way he got people to believe that he was actually like so innocent and he never swore or anything. And the reason he gives people now is that it's because his grandma watches the videos, which is hilarious. Uh, Same, me too.
Um,
Yeah.
so Dan and Phil were entering their Radio One era, and they've got the Radio One show that's been announced, which is very exciting for them. And I suppose they really were like the first internet people, especially in Britain. I'm going to say I don't know anything about the YouTube culture in America, especially in Britain. They were the first, I suppose, like
Mm.
internet people to be given these more like mainstream presenting like career opportunities. And obviously like the BBC saw something in them and saw how popular they were online and wanted to monetize on that.
Yeah, I agree. Also, like Scott Mills mentions, like your two favorite guys from the internet now on the radio, like you've never seen them before. It's Innuendo Bingo, like that was his introduction to them, and people were sending in messages being like, "Oh my god, I would never miss." It happened at like 2 p.m. or something, but I know the second one happened around like 1:45, and
Yeah,
that was the intro. Um, and there were kids just like in class listening in,
absolute
which
insanity.
is something that I remember so it was so real though, because I would do that too. Like I would sit in the like where I am and I would take breaks from class or hope that things would happen during lunchtime so I could tune in.
Yeah,
It was yeah, it was insanity.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially the second one. I don't remember listening to that live because again, I think I had like such an old phone and like Twitter notifications were not what they are now. So if they would have tweeted being like, "Hey, we're going to be on Radio 1," like I probably would have missed that if I was like at college. So obviously maybe the first time that I would have watched this would have been Phil's video. I'm not too sure. I'd love to go back in time and see what I was doing when this was uploaded and when it was like done live on Radio 1.
Same. I'm just assuming I was at school, because that's what I was doing. I was in the ninth grade.
Yeah.
Um and I was like deep in One Direction Twitter at this point. But I'm getting out. Don't worry.
You
I'm gonna
say
get
you're
out
getting out,
soon.
but as we are entering Dan and Phil's Radio 1 era, this was the first year that they did the Teen Awards and we had their iconic interview with One Direction.
and that's how I got into it. I was
Oh my
getting
god, was that it?
um so yeah, that was literally it. So
What? Oh my
I
god.
say this in so we've entered. So okay, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but the second Innuendo Bingo video was uploaded on the 3rd of October 2012. And at the end of that video, Phil mentions the Teen Awards. And so, leading up to the Teen Awards, which happened like mid October, One Direction did sort of like these little shows on Radio 1 with each host. So, morning to afternoon or morning to evening, each member did a show with each host. And so I tuned into that shit, like from morning till the evening. I don't even remember if I had school that day and I skipped or if it was the
Wow.
weekend because I was there. And so I was keeping track of this, but they didn't meet Dan Phil until the show, which again I did watch the live stream for. Did not see Dan Phil because they were in a bathroom interviewing Little Mix and One Direction. And then after that, I was searching for videos, and someone on like a One Direction update account had posted their like Phil's video, and that's how I got into
Oh
it.
my god, wow. That's such a
Yeah,
good
that's the
story.
origin story. that's that's how it happened, and then I just sort of like moved boys. I was like, oh, I'm gonna. Well, no, I was still a One Direction fan until their little like hiatus, but
Hi.
my interest sort of moved hiatus in massive air quotes.
Not the same as Dan and
And
Phil's
yeah,
hiatus.
so then I not no not the same at all. Yeah, and then I just started watching Dan Phil from there.
Wow. What a good story. I love that. I didn't know that. Yeah.
You did?
No, I didn't.
Whoa. Okay, so yeah, that's what it is. I will give you my first tweet about them in the next episode because it's more relevant there.
Okay, okay.
But
Yeah, so I
yeah,
went back and I actually watched the
yeah, yeah.
um interviews, the videos they did with One Direction, um, just as part of this. And it's like they're so awkward. I don't know how that was planned, considering Dan and Phil were working with Radio One. Like they were literally just shoved into like the smallest dressing room in the world, and I don't understand like why they weren't given a proper sort of like setup with like a big space. I don't know, like, and it was literally just filmed on this like tiny little vlogging camera. It wasn't even like an actual setup, which is really weird because like they were actually like official Radio One videos, but they were just shoved into this like tiny dressing room with the whole of One Direction.
I know exactly, and like they were saying, I think it was in Tabanoff where they had talked, or they had talked about it somewhere, where they were sort of like looking back on this day, and they were like, we were so surprised that we got to do as much as we were able to because they didn't just interview them for Radio One. Dan was actually doing the Supernote competition,
Yes, I watched that video as
and
well.
where basically like yeah, same. I think it's Rhett and Link who sort of did this competition on
Yeah.
the internet where people would form teams and then it would be competing to see who would do the longest note, just going like ah, right? And Dan is super smart. I feel like this is where they're sort of like they get how to do things and like get numbers because obviously if you're going to do this kind of video with One Direction, their fans are also going to follow and do responses to that, and obviously Dan won that competition.
Did, yeah. The Alarm
So on
Army
top of
won.
their popular, yeah, his team was called the Lamb
They
Army.
were, yeah.
Um, yeah, what a
Amazing.
time.
What a time.
But yeah,
So yeah, Dan and Phil had their first teen awards. They're interviewing One Direction in a tiny little dressing room. Yeah, I watched the one where they made them all they pulled each other's names and they had to draw someone and they had to guess. And it was so it Phil looked so stressed, bless him. I can see why that man does not like presenting things because he was flustered.
yeah, he was not used to it at all, and it would take a while before he would get used to it, I think.
Yeah.
But this was the very first, and like One Direction are huge. They have this massive like
Es-
fan base, and you
Especially
can't say anything. I think One Direction, yeah, taking their fans into account, like you can't say anything wrong. I feel for them, but they did a good job.
I
Good
think
job.
they did a good job, yeah, watching the videos back. I was stressed for them, but I think they did a good job.
Yeah, same. But that's not what we're here to talk about, unfortunately.
I mean, we can talk
We
about
need
Innuendo
to.
Bingo now.
No, we can. This is actually the reason we're doing this. So, like, we're just talking about the Radio 1 era is because this video is very straightforward. There's not much to analyze, right?
Like, there's not a lot to talk about, guys, but we still wanted to make a video about it because, damn it, if we aren't going to talk about every single joint Dan and Phil video on the internet. So here we are.
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
So if you notice that this
So
episode is
here we
shorter
are.
than others,
Let's start with the first
it's
one.
because Dan and Phil aren't giving us the content to talk about things.
Yeah, exactly. 2012 was a lot of solo content, I think, for both of them. Um, should we talk about the first one? We haven't talked about the first one at all
Yeah, we can talk about the
because it
first
has
one.
nothing to do with the Teen Awards.
It doesn't have any. Yeah, we really jumped ahead there,
All
didn't
right.
we? So the first Innuendo Bingo was uploaded on to Dan Is Not on Fire's channel on the 16th of August 2012. So we are jumping back in time a little bit from pin-off last week. And this was filmed in Edinburgh as part of the Edinburgh Festival Fringe that Radio 1 took part in, and it was all part of their... So Radio 1 did this thing called the Fun and Filth Cabaret during the Edinburgh Fringe. The Edinburgh Fringe, which I think I have basically mentioned before, is a huge like comedy slash entertainment festival that happens throughout the month of August in Edinburgh. And it's, if you're a comedian in the UK or like an up and coming sort of like stand up comedian, like that is the place to go to do your show. And lots of other like well established comedians go, and there's lots of other like comedy shows and like plays and things like that. And at this time, I don't know how many years Radio 1 had been going up there and doing this Fun and Filth Cabaret. I know that they don't go up anymore, but they were there. Dan and Phil went up as well, and Dan and Phil took part in their very first Innuendo Bingo, which was exciting. I think I remember this video being uploaded.
Oh, do you have any tweets from it, or you were just sort of like watching
I
it?
think I was just sort of watching it. Like I don't really remember where I was, but I remember like watching it at the time. And I haven't watched this in years, but like watching it back for this episode, like so many lines of it like had stuck in my head because I think I'd obviously rewatched it a lot back then.
Yeah, same. I don't think I rewatched the first one a lot, maybe the second one. But same, I remember like a lot of this while I was watching it back, even though I haven't seen it in years. Um, there are a lot of innuendos in their sort of reaction, if you
Yeah,
know what I mean. Like the things they were saying, they were Dan got it on himself and all these things. It was just very
I
funny.
think it just adds to the whole experience, to be honest, because like actually listening back to the innuendos that they were reacting to, they weren't very funny. And I don't know if that's just because like this video is like what 11 years old now, or if it's only
Yeah.
funny because they've got their mouths filled with water and like their brains automatically trying to pick up the innuendos and what the person's saying.
Oh yeah, and also they're not like expecting, like they don't know what is going to be said.
No,
I think maybe we, yeah, I think we, yeah, I think it is just the timing for us mostly because it's not 2012 right
no,
now,
it's not
so
2012.
we're just not gonna find it as fun.
But they had a great time.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, they got so wet.
They
Like
did.
genuinely,
It really,
they got so
they
wet.
did, but it really stressed me out that Dan wasn't sitting properly, like next to the bucket. Like he was sort of sitting to the side, and he didn't have like the bucket in the middle of him, if that makes sense. He was like his legs were to the side, so he had to like turn and like lean over.
Yeah. Also, he didn't spit in the bucket that much at all. He was just spitting on the floor,
Yeah,
which I thought was a bit gross.
gross
Yeah.
little boy.
Gross, and also like they had like wires and shit there. I
I
was like, is
know.
this not like a like you're surrounded by wires, you're spitting out water,
Health and
but
safety
oh well,
nightmare.
no one got electrocuted. So yeah.
I don't know as well if you noticed, there were lots
But
of comments
yeah.
from the lady in the video. I think she's she was like a
I
producer
know
on
what
the
you want to say.
show. So many comments about like,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
god, the girls are going to be going wild for this. Like, oh, you're going to have ladies like queuing up outside the tent, Dan and Phil getting each other wet on Radio 1. And obviously, like, at the time, like, that was fine because neither of them were out or being like explicit about their
Mm,
sexualities. But like watching that back now is so funny.
mm,
It's like thinking about the dating app video that they both did when they were in Manchester that Phil talked about. Jim,
mm.
like,
That was my only note from this video, just them being like, "Oh, the ladies like."
he's like, "Oh, no, are the
um,
ladies really?" And like, it'd be so
with
interesting to know like what Dan and Phil were thinking at that time, like whether they even paid attention to those
with
comments. But
them, yeah,
obviously, they must have listened to him back. Like,
yeah.
were they just thinking, "Ugh, definitely, definitely not ladies."
Uh, there was one where she had said girls will be outside in a minute. Now it's like the girls don't care. They don't care. The girls don't care. Like this
They
is
don't
not
care
the
about the girls. The
audience
girls definitely
for
care.
this.
Yeah, no,
Oh, I guess, yeah.
no, I just found that really funny. But
Christ,
yeah, I know I found that on a
same.
tangent about like that dating video that Phil did. I cannot believe that he lied in that video. Said that he went on a date.
Can you not believe it? I would believe it.
I
Like if
can.
he didn't show himself,
I think when he
I
just
don't know.
revealed that he'd lied though,
I
I was just in shock. I was like, I can't, like, I can believe it, but I think I was just in shock that he just admitted that he'd pretended to go on this date and just
oh,
made
he admitted it. He
I just found it so funny. I
the
was
lengths he'll go.
like he's that poor. I mean, I appreciate his reasons. He didn't want to like string anyone along, and he was definitely very, very, very gay.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, I just found that so funny that he made up. It's the clip that he shows. He's like, "Oh, I've been chatting to this nice girl called Steph, and we're gonna go on a date." Oh, Phil, poor Phil.
he did a good job
He did.
though.
He
Like
did
I
do a good
mean,
job.
I until yeah, like I wouldn't have thought that he was lying at all.
I think
I
it's
would have
more the
thought, oh,
fact.
maybe he just went on a date, hung out with this.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
it's more the fact that he admitted in that video that like he lied about it. It's just so funny.
yeah, yeah. Oh, God,
So that's
that's another thing. Just like his branding and everything.
yeah. He's
Sorry,
just such
that's
a
the end. Yeah.
yeah. That's it. So second Innuendo Bingo uploaded on the 3rd of October 2012. So if what 2 months after the first one. Again,
Mm-hmm.
just the innuendos haven't aged well, or like I just didn't. I think these ones were funnier actually in the second one than they were in the first one.
Yeah, I was about to say these ones are a little bit funnier. The first one itself is from Avatar, like the cartoon,
Yeah.
which I had not remembered, and I was like, oh my god. But it involves saying the words benders and non-benders, which if you watch the cartoon, yeah, that makes sense. But if you
Out
don't,
of context.
it's
Yeah, yeah.
kind of funny. Yeah,
And they got so wet
yeah.
in this
Also,
one.
this one is in the studio. This one?
Yeah, this one's in the studio. I was just saying they got so
They
wet
got
in
more
this
wet.
one.
Yeah, they were spitting a lot more. I think it was the three people. They had one of the producers with them, Chris, and I think that might be also why.
Yeah, they were getting
Maybe.
spat on from all angles. Which again,
But Dan said
yeah,
something.
Dan
He
said
said,
something like that.
yeah, he said he's getting attacked from both ends, and then he was like, "Oh God,
Yeah,
why did I say that?" Yeah. Oh God. Uh, Phil also spat directly on. I think Dan was like bent down. This
yes.
I wish our. Oh my God, I'm like realizing what I'm about to say. Anyway, Phil did spit like right down Dan's neck and like down his back.
It was just the angles,
disgusting.
though, wasn't it?
I hope which one? The angle?
It was just the angles, though, wasn't it, of like where they were sat.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They were not sitting properly again, I feel like. Or they were just like in a triangle. So either way, someone was getting spat on. I mean, apart from just like the innuendos, I was very confused by some of the words because I think they're very British. So I'm hoping you can help me out
I
here,
will try my
just
best.
so I understand. All right. So there's one where they mention nosh, and I've written what is nosh.
So nosh,
So is
like,
that like a dirty word?
it means to like food or like to eat. So like, oh, I'm gonna like nosh down on something, or like, oh, I'm gonna eat this nosh. But like, I think it can like definitely be
Okay.
used in like a dirty sense, and that's all I'm gonna say. This is a very safe for work
Oh,
podcast, so infer from that what you will.
yes. Yeah, yeah. I think they'd mentioned like a barbecue in the
Yeah,
in the audio.
yeah.
Um, what's the other one? Oh yeah, what is winched? Is that
That,
another?
I think that's just like I'm trying to think how to describe it. So like, if someone was in like I'm trying to think how to explain it. It's not dirty at all. It's just like it's sort of like a like if you put something
Uh-huh.
in like a harness and like you were like lifting it or like moving it, you were like winching it. Like a winch is like a what I'm trying to think what the word is, like a piece of like equipment, like that you would put. I think if you googled
Uh-huh.
winch, like it
Google
would
it.
come up. I'm gonna Google
Yeah.
it now and just see what comes up, and we'll say it's a mechanical device that is used to pull in slash wind up or let out, wind out, or otherwise adjust the tension of a rope or a wire rope.
Okay, that's not that. I think that was just like an unexpected thing that was said, and then they just found that funny
Yeah, I think in the
because
context, I think even not Chris, Scott said after that one, he was like, that one doesn't even make any sense because it doesn't make any sense because like a winch is just like this bit of
mm,
like mechanical device.
mm-mm. Yeah. Some of these are just so easy though. Like you shouldn't laugh, but then they're like things like special fluid. It's just like, haha, that's so funny. It's not really. Um,
I did write a note actually that I think that
but
someone surely this must be a clip of like a compilation video on YouTube, but there should be like a Danville Games innuendo bingo. Like that would be like impossible levels, especially like the golf videos. Like innuendo central, those videos
yeah,
are.
yes. I had a note that said that they should do this on the gaming channel with their own
They
videos, which I
should.
think is something that the comments also said.
Yes, I noticed that as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think that'd be so funny.
That'd be so funny. Maybe we can get them to do that in 2024. Like a revive innuendo bingo with their own videos. And they can see just how
Their own
filthy
videos.
their minds are.
Exactly. Oh my god. I mean, they don't have to do any work. Like, they just sort of have to have their glasses of water.
Yeah.
I can see it now. Phil has brought back his vase. Like, he's brought that bit
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
So he has this, and Dan has a normal glass or a bottle of water or whatever, and then he jokes about it being vodka. I'm seeing this in my mind, right?
You're envisioning it. We need to
And so the
message them.
video,
There must be a innuendo compilation somewhere on YouTube from their like gaming videos.
I'm I'm sure
And if
over the
not,
years
I was
there
gonna
must
say
be
I'll make
multiple
one,
parts.
but I have no video editing qualities, so not for me. If someone else listening wants to make that, if it
Mm.
doesn't exist, go and do it, and then I will tweet it to Dan on your behalf.
Yes, it can be a team. It can be a community effort to
Exactly.
bring back innuendo bingo. That's our sort of goal.
That would be so
Yeah,
funny. It'd be even funny because
I
it'd
think it'd be
be
great, and
their
it'd be like
things as well.
exactly. I was just about to say that. Like, it would be sort of like, yeah, it would be their word, so it'd be on the same level as doing like spin-off reactions and stuff,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
And I can already
Which, yeah.
guarantee that half of those innuendos, over half, would be from Phil, of things that he's just said and not realised the context of what he's saying. Like the whole "come in my lady door" thing. Like that is just Phil all over, just saying things that and then thinking about them 10 minutes after, like, oh wait, I just realised how that sounds.
Yeah, I don't think, yeah. He said some like very strange things, not just on the gaming channel, but I think it's mostly on the gaming channel. But
Those worms are working
yeah, let's
overtime.
start that. His singular brain cell
It's
just
singular
doing
brain
so much work. Once again, I love Phil. We are lovers of Dan and Phil.
We are, that's why we have a Dan and Phil podcast.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Shall we do some quick speedy outfit ratings?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do
So,
it.
Innuendo Bingo 1. We
First one.
we have Dan wearing
Hmm.
the Eclipse t-shirt. Now, it wouldn't be fair. I feel like we have to give this a 10,000 out of 10, as we gave it last week for pin-off. Like, it's the only t-shirt he wore for anything for about 3 years. So, we've got to give it to him, haven't we?
Yes, we do. We really, yeah. It wouldn't be fair to change that ranking. What about Phil with his wolf
Some
top?
random graphic tee with a wolf on it. I mean, it's just pretty average, isn't it? I'd say like just like a 5 out of 10 from me. It's okay.
Yeah,
Didn't impact my life.
that's that's what I wrote as well. Yeah. He has like more iconic wolf themed sweaters and stuff.
Like the
So
one that
this
he
one is very
wore
forgettable, I think. Yeah.
for the very first radio show.
On his icon. Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. So this one five, I
a
agree.
5 out of 10.
Second one, Phil is yeah.
Yeah,
For the second one, Phil is wearing his off shirt
I,
again.
yeah, 1,000 out of 10. It would be rude not to.
Yes. And Dan is wearing a very nice sweater from All
I
Saints
think it's
with
from All
zippers on the
Saints.
shoulders.
I think it's an All Saints one.
Most likely.
Most likely.
Most likely.
Dan loves his zips. I'm.
Uh,
Oh, I don't really know. I don't. Am I just rating it high because it's Dan's clothes and I like all of his clothes? Or do I actually like the item of clothing? Hmm.
yes, analyze your thinking.
I
Um
think maybe an 8.
I'm
An 8 out of 10 from me.
okay, same. I was gonna give it an 8. My reasoning for that is that I would like to wear the sweater. Like I do really like it. Um and I like the zipper stuff. It's a very nice sweater. And he wore it for a very long time, I think.
Yeah, he did. I think it's a very classic
He
Dan
kept that.
jumper. And I think it's something that he'd wear now if he still
It
had.
is. If he still has it, yeah.
Which I don't think he
Same.
does, but yeah.
Sad.
And finally, shall we do
Okay.
some
Yeah.
video rankings? I feel, do you want to just rank them both together as a whole? Or did you want to rank,
Mm,
shall we rank them
okay, I will
separately?
say no, I think I want to run them separately. Sorry, because I think one of them is better than the other ones. That's
Okay.
why.
Right. How many
Right.
innuendos out of 10 are you giving Innuendo Bingo 1?
I'm giving it a 6. What
Okay.
about you?
I think also like a 5 or a 6. It's mid for me.
It is mid. This one is yeah, yeah, yeah. What about the second one? How many innuendos out of 10 do you give Innuendo Bingo 2?
Again, maybe only like a 7.
Ooh, I was gonna be a bit nicer. I was gonna give it an 8 because I don't think it's required watching, but I think it's very classic.
Yeah,
Um,
I just,
classic Dan Phil.
they're not like I think because they aren't really doing a lot. Like, it is just like watching them do something. Like, there's not a whole lot of rewatchability, I don't think, with them. But like, they're fun
In
videos
which
to
one?
watch.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not. Yeah, that's true. From what they've come to be, 100%. Yeah, I agree. But I think the second one is much better than the first one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the second
But
one's
like in the
better.
grand scheme of things, yeah. But in the grand scheme of things, these are not the best Danfil videos, like for sure.
No. And if you didn't watch them, then
No,
you're not missing out on a lot. That's okay.
that's okay. If you want innuendos, you will get them
Yeah, just
in
watch
other
some
videos.
golf with friends videos. Tons of innuendos there.
Yeah. All right. Let's. Okay. So we are done with Innuendo Bingo 1 and 2. Next episode is quite exciting.
Oh,
Like, I know I say this like every time, but this one's exciting. Do you know what it is?
I don't. I can't remember, so please tell me.
Ooh, okay, okay, okay. So this one again is gonna be my first Danfil upload. Um, it is Halloween baking.
Oh my
The
gosh.
first ever Halloween baking. It's the brownies. It's the graveyard brownies, and
Nice.
yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
excited. Yeah, I haven't watched this one in a long time.
Oh my god. Okay, like, I've watched it recently, but I will not watch it until we're recording again. I'm really excited for this one. But yeah, we'll see you then. Thank you for listening to this episode.
Thank you for listening. Hopefully it was enjoyable for you and has made you want to go back and watch the Innuendo Bingo videos.
Yeah. We'll see you next time.
We will see you next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.